Okay. Hello. Welcome. My name is Martha Alter Hines, and I'm with Living the One Light. And I am going to make yet another video for this solar eclipse in Aries happening as I'm recording this. It's happening tomorrow. So, so I've already made two two eclipse videos. I've done so many things for this eclipse, but the spirit world really wanted me to make yet another video. So here I am. And I'm going to drop more deeply into various layers of how, the why behind this, but I just want to name the real point, the real crux of what they're wanting me to convey in this video, and then I'll go more deeply into the details of it. The real point is that they're asking us to, and this is them, this is not me. um, they're basically begging us to take this opportunity of this eclipse to make a choice, to make a very direct, deliberate, conscious direct choice to come into to let go of, to completely let go of the illusion of separation, to come fully into the oneness, the totality, the reality of ourselves as wholeness itself. Yeah. So let me, Martha, let me explain a little bit behind that, like how that's coming up. Okay. So today I was, it was a very domestic day for me, and I was spending time with my kids, making them French toast and cleaning my kitchen and doing laundry and stuff like that, being a mom. And both of my kids are really musical, and my 17-year-old is, probably their number one top thing is being in the school choir, and they just got back from a 2-day trip to perform with their choir. And so anyways, like music is a big thing in our house. So often when I'm doing all those domestic things, I'm listening to music with them, and we're singing and doing harmonies and all that, right? um and so today, and it's not always, love and light and perfect. I don't want to give that impression, but sometimes it is, and sometimes it's pretty awesome. And this morning was one of those times where it was just like really, yeah, one of those moments, like life doesn't get better than this. So I was really enjoying it. And one of the songs I put on this morning was We Are the World. You guys know that song? So it was made in 1984, and I was 7 years old then. So I remember it really well because it was a big deal, and we performed it in school when I was in second grade and on and on. But if you don't know, I don't know when actually, but anyway, there's now a documentary on Netflix about the making of that song. I highly recommend it. I watched it with my 17-year-old a couple weeks ago, and it is such a metaphor for so many things. So many things. Specifically is such a metaphor to me, for the diversity within unity. And how each of our voices are just so perfect and so needed exactly as we are, exactly who we are, whether you're Bob Dylan or whether you're Michael Jackson or whatever it is, right? Like they're each, what was so beautiful about that video, I mean, about the documentary, is how they talked about that they emphasized each singer being as much themselves as possible. So Michael Jackson was supposed to be like super Michael Jackson, like very much himself as Michael Jackson. And then Bob Dylan, they really wanted him to be Bob Dylan, you know? And And sometimes for actually was so fascinating was that for a lot of them, it was really scary. Like Bob Dylan had a really hard time. He was so scared because he was in this room filled with all these mega stars. And he's Bob Dylan, but even he was scared to to fully be present as himself and as his own voice, which is, I'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, that's just so fascinating, right? Okay, so many of those themes are really alive right now in this eclipse season and with this eclipse tomorrow. Um, and but here's the deal. So when I was listening to that song today with my kids, this is what struck me. And I've heard the song how many times? Okay, lots of us probably have. The song goes, we are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. But here's the key. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true. We make a better day, just you and me. There's a choice. There's a choice we're making. Okay. So it's such a good song. Go and listen to it. I'll put the link. But that I was, when I was listening and I was cooking and I was cleaning and I was blah, 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 suddenly I went, oh my God, there's a choice we're making. Mars conjunct Saturn. There's a choice we're making. Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces at the time of the eclipse. Okay, so key. So months ago, when I looked at the energetic of this eclipse, of course, it jumped off the page at me and I went, oh my God, it's going to be a total solar eclipse, new moon in Aries, exactly conjunct Chiron on the North Node. That's going to be so powerful. Okay. It's like anybody and everybody who understands astrology would notice that. But the other thing that struck me was that at the time of the eclipse, also, Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, so the ruler of this eclipse, would be conjunct Saturn. And the reason I noticed that, I wouldn't probably have necessarily noticed it so immediately, but I did, was because the conjunction is happening at 1314 of Pisces, which is exactly on my sun. So I was like, fascinating, right? So I've been kind of feeling that and then trying to feel into it on a personal level, that Mars-Saturn conjunction at the time of this eclipse, for months and months and months. But it wasn't until today when I got it, when it clicked for me. Oh my God. Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces, with Mars ruling the eclipse. There's a choice we're making. There's a choice we're making. So here's what the spirit world is really wanting me to convey. There's a choice we're making. Literally, there's a choice we're making right now. And the choice is, what they're saying is, please, 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 you have an opportunity right now to make a choice that is maybe different than any other choice you've ever had the opportunity to ever make, ever before in your whole lifetime, maybe in any lifetime on this planet. And that choice is to choose absolutely radically 100,000% to completely let go of the illusion of separation and to come fully into a radical, complete knowing and decision, Mars conjunct Saturn, decision, choice to be the remembering. That's what we're here to be. Like if you're watching this video, it's pretty much guaranteed you're one of the people you're one of the beings who's, wanting to be on the planet now to be the remembering. And something that I also was feeling yesterday, again, as in, mom mode, domestic mode, and it clicked for me, even though I do all this for my work, and even though I'm holding these spaces all the time, I actually still have had a sense of separation in my own being of like, here's the mom me that's in, normal mode, whatever that is. Because I don't talk to my kids about, I don't try to push my own spirituality onto them or any of that, right? So I'm more in like, go into more what they're into, like singing and sciencey stuff. And I don't know, like with my 12-year-old, like the boardwalk at Santa Cruz, whatever. I try to be more in their world. I don't try to force my world on them in any way. And yet, so I recognize this layer in even in my own being where I hadn't quite made the choice, the decision to be fully on an energy body level, fully in the remembering. There's a choice we're making, right? That this is a choice point of choosing that we are the remembering, or the remembering of the reality of wholeness. So what clicked for me on this personal level was, oh, wow, here's a way that I'm even like a tiny bit still out of that full integrity of choosing wholeness on this energy body level. It's not about like going and proselytizing to my kids, like, oh yeah, you need to believe in blah, 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 blah. Like my 17-year-old is very clear that they're, agnostic, and neither of my kids are into spirituality. They think it's weird and kind of uncomfortable. So I'm definitely not pushing it on them in any way whatsoever. But the deal is that it's what I can do, and actually what I need to do, what it clicked for me is that I need to come fully into my energy body with the reality, to approach life in the reality of wholeness and oneness. And that's something that their energy bodies will immediately resonate with. I mean, once I let that click in me, I went, oh, I could feel it in their own energy beings, right? Like, oh, that's so obvious to them. That's not something they would question, especially not on an energy level. Um, so again, I'm not going to go around like talking about angels and fairies to them, but I mean, unless they want me to, but at the moment they wouldn't. But what they do need me to do, and what I think the spirit world is begging us to do, is on an energy body level to choose now to be fully in the reality of wholeness, whatever that means. So again, I've talked about this in many other videos. To me, this choice of coming into wholeness is not really an intellectual thing. It's partly that, but it's more that it's in our being. And so so what the spirit world was saying to me today is that what this eclipse is doing, two things. Number one, it's all eclipses are kind of like what they were showing me is like wringing out of a towel, like a wet towel. So it helps us to 2 times a year, there are these eclipse seasons typically, and I mean at the least. And so the eclipses are like a time where we get kind of energetically an opportunity to wring that towel so that we are not, so that we can make a turn. So okay. So in life, like in the natural world, if you pay attention to basically anything in nature, basically nothing is going to be a line. Pretty much nothing in life is just a straight line. Maybe there's something. Virtually everything in the natural world is cyclical and actually really more like a spiral. So that's how growth happens. That's how life happens. And the eclipses are these regular times in the year, every year, where basically if we're going along a certain trajectory, things get turned so that we can then, spiral up or make a turn so that we are not just going on one straight line or plateauing forever and ever and ever. That's not how life works, and that's not how we're meant to operate. So what they're showing me with this eclipse in particular is that what they said to me this morning is the point isn't so much the eclipse itself. The eclipse is setting us up for letting go of certain things, for making that shift around the corner in a sense, to then be coming into the real point. Okay, so, and I've said this in other videos too, specifically in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction video, but I'll say it again, and maybe I'm saying it in a slightly different way, I'm not sure, because it clicked for me differently today. So it feels important to name it. Basically, bottom line, what I am feeling, what I'm getting told is that the point of the eclipse tomorrow, the April 8th, 2024 eclipse, is, okay, sorry. The point of the bigger picture, the whole why we're here on the planet, what we're here to do on the planet, is really to come into the divinity that is each of us, right? And then, as I talked about in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction video, we each are a divine tuning fork. We are a tuning fork of the divine. And we're needed to be that uniquely, perfectly as ourselves. There's no other tuning fork that's exactly like us. And in order to do that, in order to really be that, we need help at certain points to just to loosen up the gunk on the tuning fork that is us. And that gunk has been there, has built up from, eons and eons and eons of experiences. So again, go back to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction video to hear more on that. But so that's what I'm feeling, that the real opportunity of this eclipse is to be wringing that towel so that we get really supported to let loose the gunk on our tuning fork. And then we have at the same time this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction building. And the point of that then is that then once this eclipse season has really helped us to loosen up the gunk of the tuning fork that is ourselves, then we come into the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and we can sing. Each uniquely as ourselves together. And I don't mean like necessarily literally sing a song, our soul songs, right? So that we each then get struck by the song of the divine, and it sings through the tuning fork that is each of us in the unique, beautiful, perfect way that is specifically you, and specifically me, and specifically you, and you, and you, and you, and you. And that is what they're like I almost could cry, because the spirit world is even right now just saying, yes, exactly that. Yes, please do this. And I'll say one more layer about that, and then I'll get to the real point of what they're asking us to do tomorrow in the eclipse. But again, anytime. It'll be especially strong perhaps in the eclipse itself, though, if you feel called to do this. Well, okay, I'll say that part. So yeah, what they're saying is, they're really emphasizing that in the eclipse on April 8th, but again, anytime, but especially in that moment of the eclipse, in that time period, they would love for us each on our own, individually, but collectively, and again, only if this calls to you, only if it feels right. Absolutely. I will only do it if it feels right to me. I don't know if I'll feel called to do this, but this is what they're asking me to ask you to do. So, but it's, so you listen to you, and I'm going to be listening to me, and I will see what I'm actually personally called to do. But here's what they want me to convey. They're basically saying, please, 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 you have an opportunity to come into the oneness, the totality of who you are, and to make a choice. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me, right? So at the moment of any new moon. It's a beautiful opportunity to set a new intention, but this is like a new moon times a bazillion. So it's a new moon again in Aries on the north node of the moon, conjunct Chiron exactly. With Mars ruling the eclipse conjunct Saturn. So really supporting us to make a choice and to do it in the, in the 3D, the world, like make it very concrete. So what they're saying is, in whatever way feels right for you, if it feels right for you, there's an opportunity in the moment of this eclipse to take a deep breath and just come deeply into that pure essence of the being that is you, and to make a choice. And in a sacred, maybe in a sacred ceremony on your own or whatever, again, whatever feels right for you, to make a choice to be the wholeness of reality, of existence, of the divine, of source itself, to let go completely of the illusion of separation, to let go completely of the time of forgetting that we've all been in, and to make a choice to begin now, to be fully present as the remembering. They're saying this is the great remembering, but you have to choose it. Like you could get lost in the time of forgetting for a long time, but this is a moment. This is a beautiful, perfect moment where they're saying, please, 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 please wake up. Please wake up now. Please wake up now. You are the wholeness of existence. Like Jude Caravan, if you haven't heard her, she's amazing, and been really listening to her a lot lately. And one thing she talks about is that resonates with me on various levels is the idea that this time is like we're being shaken awake from a dream that turned into a nightmare. And so it's like that's the similar feeling I get from the spirit world. It's like they're just saying, please, 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 please wake up right now. Right now. Make a decision, make a choice to do it now. And that this moment of the eclipse is a time that's really supporting us, holding us to, again, shake off that gunk off the tuning fork that is us, and in a sacred way, make a decision to come into the reality, even in a gentle way, that we are the wholeness of reality. Anything we have ever felt or ever believed that was anything other than wholeness just isn't true. It was an illusion of the eons of forgetting. That is all it is. Anything that we think, or we think we know, or we feel that we are less than, that we are not enough, that blah, 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 all of that, it is an illusion. It's not true. So it's like, come awake from the dream. It's not real. It's not real. We are source itself. We are the divine itself. And yeah. So anyway, they're holding us in that. They're saying, wake up. It's a dream. It's a dream. Come back to reality. Yeah, so that's the opportunity we have now, right now. And I'll just add one more thing that I thought was so beautiful, so moving, so I mean, yeah, about the documentary about the We Are the World song, which again is on Netflix. And if you have Netflix, I highly recommend this movie. It's so good, so beautiful. I want to watch it again. Again, what I thought was so fascinating was that even these people, who they're famous, they're incredibly well known, people love them, like specifically Bob Dylan, came into this room, and like you can see Bob's eyes, he's just like petrified. And they had to clear the room for him. And the guy, I forget his name, but he was amazing. He was so gentle and so kind and so loving toward Bob. And he really coached him. It was like, could totally make me cry. Coached him to be himself. And I think, was it one of the other really famous singers, Stevie Wonder? Was it Stevie Wonder? Anyway, one of the singers did a Bob Dylan impression, because okay, what happened is that many of the singers were supposed to sing solos in the song. And like I said earlier, they were supposed to sing their solo in the mega, like hype up the being that was them, right? So Michael Jackson was supposed to be like the epitome of Michael Jackson. And Bruce Springsteen was supposed to be the epitome of Bruce, right? And so Bob Dylan was supposed to be the epitome of himself. But Bob was petrified, so scared. And so I think it was Stevie Wonder. I can't remember. But anyway, but Bob couldn't figure out, like, how am I gonna, what does that mean to sing, to be myself, to be Bob, the epitome of me? They could see this look on his face, like he's like just like a deer in the headlights, and he had no idea what to do, and he was so timid and so shy and so scared in this humongous room filled with all these incredibly mega star famous singers. So then again, I think it was Stevie Wonder, but I could be wrong. One of the famous people did the most loving, beautiful thing. And he did a perfect Bob Dylan impression. So he basically sang to Bob Dylan. The solo that Bob was supposed to sing as Bob, right? So assuming this was Stevie. So basically Stevie sang Bob's solo as Bob. And he sounds so much like Bob Dylan. And then I think the point being that helped Bob get it, like that mirrored back to Bob his divine song. So beautiful. I mean, it's really, I could cry. It's a metaphor for everything. And then what they did, then they, just to help Bob feel better, they cleared the room except for the guy who was directing, who again was so loving, so kind, so beautiful, and maybe a couple other people. And then Bob sang his solo, and they recorded it, with just him in the room with a couple other people. But because he had gotten mirrored by Stevie or whoever it was, he suddenly remembered his own soul song. And then he was himself, right? Like, really, I'm gonna cry. So that's the point right now. Like that's exactly it. That we're being woken up to remember the song that is ourselves. That's it. Like that's all it is. It's actually so simple and so beautiful. And yeah, so moving. Yeah. So that's our opportunity right now. It's amazing. It's incredible. But we have to make a choice. It's not just gonna happen, right? It's not like suddenly we're gonna wake up and go, oh my God, I'm awake, and I feel perfect. And I'm confident, and I'm it's just that's not true. There's a choice we're making. We have to make the choice. And I'm guessing, need to make it over and over and over and over again. But this is a crucial choice moment where the whole cosmos is right here, holding the space for us, ready for us, cheering us on. Just like, again, I'm gonna cry, oh my God. Yeah, just like Bob Dylan in that song. Amazing. Okay, I think you get my point. So, beautiful. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear anything you want to share. I'd love to hear how the actual eclipse is for you. How do you feel called? I mean, either you feel called to be with this in some way or not. No agenda. Follow your soul. Follow yourself. Follow your own soul calling. It's perfect. And I'll link that song if you don't know We Are the World, if you haven't heard in a long time. It's just great. Just love it. And I'll put that link here. I'll put the link to the Netflix documentary if you want to watch that. Yeah. What else can we give the world that's any more needed than literally the being that we are, you know, without the gunk there. And no guilt about the gunk either. It's okay. It's totally okay. It might take time. It's going to be exactly in each of our perfect timing, right? But the real key is making the choice right now in whatever way is just right for you. So that's my commitment to myself and to the world is to be making this choice right now. And thank you for being here, for being part of it with me, with all of us, with the world. We are the world, literally. Okay. Eclipse blessings. If you haven't signed up for the free event that I'm holding on April 19th, I forgot to mention that again. I'll be mentioning it over and over again. Yeah, so I'm holding a free event on April 19th, which is all about this divine tuning fork. It's going to be channeled. It's going to be the day before the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. If you haven't signed up for that, again, it's totally free. Please join me. Please, you could be there live or you'll have the recording for whenever you want to watch it. Please invite anybody and everybody you think might benefit from it. Again, it's all about the spirit world wants it to be free because it's all about us supporting us to be, we are the world. Yeah, our song is needed. So that's the whole entire point. All right. I'll see you soon.